Today I've got a pen from Jim Burke of Burke Knives. This is the MAP, or Multiple Applications pen. And I feel like waiting for this pen has been kind of like waiting for one of those high-end custom knives or guns, because I started talking about this back in March, and finally here it is November, and I have the pen and I absolutely love it. I'll put a link to his website down below. It's just burkeknives.com, or Burke Knives on Facebook, and that's mostly where I've been talking to him. One of the things I liked about this pen when I first saw it is the coloration on it, and hopefully it comes across in the video here. I'll move it back and forth so maybe you can see it in the different light. But down here it's kind of a bronze color and then goes into some blue hues down on the tip here. And one of the things with this coloration, I mean, he has some just kind of solid colored knives, or solid colored pens rather, but I like this because it was a little bit different than just a standard, single color type pen of what I've been carrying around for a lot. And the other nice thing with the coloration of this is, unlike most of my other pens, like this Precision Press pen or this Surefire pen, these pens both have their steel and the colors are anodized on. And as I keep them in my pocket next to my knife, the colors, they wear off. Jim's pen, on the other hand, is titanium, and he can correct me if I get some of this wrong, but they're flame treated, so this color is actually part of the pen. It's not anodized on, but it's actually the titanium that's flame treated into this color, so it should not scratch off like the anodized pens that I've been carrying. Thus far, I've admittedly been kind of babying this because I've only had it for a couple weeks, and I haven't really subjected it to torture in my pocket next to knives like I would usually put on this side. So I haven't really been able to test the scratch proofness of it so far, but from what I understand from talking with him, it should hold up pretty well as far as that goes. The pen is $150. Again, it's not a cheap pen, but he hand makes these pens. He doesn't mass produce them. He mostly makes the knives, and occasionally he gets around to making some pens, and so they're kind of custom made. And I told him, I said, hey, I want one of the colorized pens, and he said, hey, how about something like this? I said, that's great. Would love to have one. So not a cheap pen, but again, they're kind of custom made. They're small quantities. They're not mass produced. They're all made in his shop down there in Mississippi. Construction of this, it is all titanium. Body is titanium. The tip is titanium. The cap up here is titanium. The clicky mechanism is the same German clicky mechanism, sort of the unclicky on pretty much all of the other nice pens that I have, except for my Fisher Space pen, which has a click. But this is kind of the unclicky, and the action on these is just nice and smooth. I love the clickies. I can't stand pens with caps. It's just too much hassle to take the cap off, figure out what to do with it. So I much prefer these pens that are the clickies, because they're just easy. Click with your thumb, click it on your body, click it on your chest, whatever you have. The clip is the only thing that I would actually change on the pen. The clip, I'm not sure if this is steel or titanium, but the two things on the clip is it's not very deep carry, which may or may not be a big deal. This much of the pen is going to stick out, and I'll roll in some footage of it in my pocket. But the pen is going to stick out this far. And the other thing that I would change about the clip is that you can see from the side there, it's not very deep. There's not much space here. By comparison, for instance, my Surefire pen, a lot of space there. The Precision Press pen, a lot of space there. A lot of space there. Not much on the Tactile Turn pen, but my concern is that when I put this into my pocket over some of I always carry this in my right front pocket, my pens, and putting it over deep or a thick material, there's not a lot of space there, and the clip kind of bends out. So I would like it if that was just flared out a little bit more here, if there's a little bit more space there to get over some thicker material. Let me demonstrate that for you. On these cool pants that I'm wearing, the pocket here is reinforced through here. The back part is just kind of normal 2-ply fabric. The pen here, if I put it back in the back part where it's just 2-ply fabric, no problem. Going up over this thicker part, just to show you some of these other pens with the thicker pocket clips, like this Surefire Pen 2, no problem there. The Matthew Martin clicky is decently thick, no problems there. And the Precision Press pen goes over it, no problem. You can also get an idea here of how deep the carry is. You can see sticks out a decent amount here. The Surefire and the Matthew Martin clicky are both nice deep carry, and the Precision Press pen by no means is a deep carry. Moving it forward just to show you how it'll work up here is if I put this over here, you can see that the clip here actually sticks out some from the pocket because it's just not very deep right here at the top of the clip. So it's going to stick out. It's not going to make contact with the fabric. One of the nice things about the clip is because this is flared out here, even going over this thick fabric, it slides right over. So that's nice because some knives or pens for that matter, have a problem there where they don't go over that as well. But it is going to stick out a little bit. So I do wish this had just a little bit deeper pocket clip. Here would be a typical carry for me with a knife and my pen that I usually carry in front of my knife. Going down the body here, there are fullers, and then one of the things that I love that he did great on this pen is that down here there are some ridges, and on some of my other pens that I have, like this one here, the ridges were so sharp that I actually had to put some rubber over it to make it more comfortable. But on this, there's the ridges, and I'm not sure if they're comfortable, and I'm not sure if they're so comfortable because they're not that deep, or if he does them and he kind of smooths the edges a little bit. But I can write with it, and it doesn't. The ridges are not so sharp and deep that they dig into your finger. I almost don't notice they're there. It's just enough that it's enough to grip on it, but it's not so much that it's uncomfortable. And so I love that about the way he finished those ridges. The tip on it is titanium. The ink cartridge in it is a Schmidt Easy Flow 9000, like this one. I'll take it apart in a minute. In the past, I've really not liked the Easy Flows. The Easy Flows, it's kind of a cross between a ballpoint pen and a roller ball pen. And they write nice and smoothly. But the problem I've had with it in the past is a personal thing, is that on our thermal prescription pads in the hospital, they tend to skip and they don't write well on them. So I've usually switched it out to either a Parker or a Fisher Space Pen refill. You can use either a Parker or a Schmidt refill on them because they're both the same size. Disassembly of this, the tip unscrews here. And in the tip here, there's actually a little O-ring right in there. Tip, like I said, is titanium. Spring, and then the ink cartridge. And then also down in here, there's a 3/16 bronze ball, basically a BB, I think. That goes in there. Oops. That goes in there, and then the ink refill, the spring, and the tip, which just screws right back on there. He says he puts just a little bit of lubricant on there, which you really shouldn't have to touch unless you're going to be changing your ink weekly. But otherwise it's fine, goes back together nice and easy. Here's a size comparison for you for any of these other pens that you might have. Matthew Martin Clicky Pen, Surefire Pen 4, Tactile Turn Pen, the Burke Pen, Fisher Space Pen, and the Precision Press Pen. These three pens are pretty much all the same size. They're, for all intents and purposes, the same size. The Burke is just a few millimeters longer than the Tactile Turn and the Surefire Pen 4, but definitely shorter by quite a bit than the Precision Press Pen. In the hand, it is super comfortable. The weight is perfect on this with titanium. I didn't quite know what to expect, but it's not too heavy, it's not too light. Feels just right in your hand, as it were. Doesn't stick out too far. Again, it's just, I love writing with this pen. I love the size, I love the weight. If I could change just one thing, I would just alter that pocket clip a little bit. By the way, there's his name, Burke, right there on the pocket clip. But check it out, the Burke Multiple Application Pen. Lovely pen. Check one out from him. Get a couple different colors. Awesome pen.